I wonder whether you'd say a little bit about audiences, because it's great to be making lots of different work, but how is it getting seen and what's the responses been? Could you talk a bit about audiences?
Yeah, well, I think audiences is a really important one when it comes to collaboration because, well, for example, with Danza in 2014, I always used to have to really, really, really push for audiences for Danza, and I always used to get good audiences. But when I did the Danza collaborations, it was completely sold out. It was there was people trying to squeeze in because it harnessed audiences of different art forms. So there was people coming in to see dance that wouldn't have normally seen dance, that were maybe coming to see the Holy Orders, the rock band that were involved, or coming to support Anna, or like Anna Bean, who I was collaborating with. So it utilised the fact that there's a really strong audience base for music, for film, for different art forms, and it pulled those all in. So that was one of the really positive things about bringing in about cross art form collaboration in that instance. And I think the work that me and Tamer are making at the minute, it's entertaining in a way that sometimes people wouldn't go see contemporary dance because it's not their thing. But I feel like by collaborating with costume, we've kind of still managed to keep it artistic, but crossed over into that more sort of entertainment factor. And I think it makes it really accessible. I think it not accessible in a way that it cheapens it, in that it's less artistic, but I think it's something that widens its audience appeal, really.
And I'm just going to say at that point, sorry, Misha, I think you're right. Accessible isn't necessarily cheaper nor non-artistic. It's just about having many hooks and literally being accessible for people to be able to view and understand. I think, and that lots of artists struggle with that for a long, long time. It was really well-rounded, what you said, Joe. There's a lot I expect for people to go away and think about. But for me, it was lovely to see your whole journey. Obviously, I've known bits of it, and many other people here will have known bits of it. But to have it mapped out like that, really, it was quite a complete picture of where you are now. And finishing with that question about audiences, about your work, and therefore a bit of a pointer really for dance. So, when I started, which was many years ago, we still debated how do you get audiences for dance? And we're still having those debates now.
Yeah.
And one of the ways is, and then we do the term accessible. So one of the ways is through bringing in different combinations and collaborations, and the sophistication of your collaborations has been really interesting to see throughout that real little snapshot that you gave us. Jackie's raising her hand, literally.
So I couldn't find the thing where you do it on the screen. So no, it was just to say I remember that dancer with the collaborations one really well, because it had, I don't know whether it was because there was a lot of people and you'd had to do a lot of work reasonably quickly, but it had real life to it. It was a really lively, interesting process, although you hadn't had much time to refine the pieces. I think that was a benefit, actually. It was a very distinctive evening. I do remember that very well. So it's not always the most refined and polished pieces that work the best in terms of...
Thank you. That's really nice to hear. And I think it's that's something that I'm always quite interested in. I quite like that liveness of the feeling that something could go wrong any minute, and it keeps it on its toes, and it keeps it from being really long pieces that have been really not overly rehearsed, but really, and there's benefits to that as well. But there was something about, and I felt like if you'd seen any of the pieces just individually, it wouldn't necessarily have read that way. But I think seeing it all together and knowing that that's what's happened, it's like you're seeing a bit of the process, and I think that's really I'm interested in process, and I quite like the idea that they've just gone, right, you've got 2 weeks, you're with this person, you're with that person, I'll help you through the process, but go and make something. And like, some people already had existing things that they used, some people made stuff completely from scratch, and like I said, some of it worked better than others, but you almost needed to see the whole range of it for it to work as like a cohesive thing. So yeah, I'm glad you enjoyed it anyway.
A good program. There is actually just one question to finish with from Anna, and that's sort of it's come through on chat. What's next for you and for you and Tamer?
Well, it's a tricky one, isn't it? Because everything's a little bit mental at the minute, but we've not had chance to do any touring of Stunners yet, the piece that you saw. So we're really excited to, once this is over, at some point, to be able to get out and tour that. But we're also, we're doing R&D, as I've sort of mentioned before. I wanted to revisit Going Places, which was the first clip that I showed you all. I wanted to revisit that, but from a different perspective. So with a performer, so I can step back from it and not have so many roles to do myself. And also just Tamer being such a fantastic performer and really versatile, and me being able to sort of throw lots of different things at her and really push her. So we're doing R&D for that at the minute, and we've not started collaborating yet, but we'll be collaborating with a filmmaker, and we're having mentoring from Wendy Houston, who is another really fantastic, well-established choreographer. So we've been really fortunate in that way. So the next thing after that, I guess, would be to actually get some money and make the piece. So we're doing the research and development at the minute, which is basically me giving Tamer weird things to do, and then Tamer doing them and filming them and going, what do you think of this, to our mentor. So yeah, the next bit would be to make that piece. But we're also, this is just a bit of a separate thing, but we're doing some doorstep dances. So we're doing a pilot project at the minute where we identify people that could do with a dance, bring into their door. They give us a song. We choreograph really quickly to the song, and take the dance to their doorstep and play them the song and in full costume and do a dance for them and have some sort of interaction. So that's more our sort of community stuff, but it all crosses over anyway. So yeah, and then hopefully doing something with you, Anna, again in the future.